Good afternoon, everybody. If I can have everyone get a seat. If you need more food or dessert, help yourself throughout the event. But we are going to get started now. My name's Sherry DeCrenza, and I'm the president of the West Volusia Regional Chamber, and I want to welcome everybody to the second annual West Volusia Economic Forum. So before we get started today, I would like to ask everybody to stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I would like to take a moment to recognize our sponsors today. Without our sponsors, we could not throw these amazing events. And first we have Advent Health as one of our presenting sponsors. Duke Energy. Joe Hearn Events. West Volusia Beacon. Halifax Health. And the City of Deltona. I would also like to thank Steph Photography and Kitchen. She is providing the scones in the back. She is one of our members, and being that it's an economic forum, we want to, highlight our members. Brian Abesso with Cheesecake Chinos will be showing up shortly, so as the event goes, make sure you get your cheesecakes. They're amazing. He's just running a little behind. I would also like to acknowledge my board of directors. So I have Kayla DeKoff with Advent Health. I have Patty DeAlexandra with Duke Energy. Rafael Ramirez with Halifax Health. Sarah Hancock with The Blind Pig. And Kayla Ferriero Thompson with Sunshore Insurance. I'm going to ask that you hold your applause to the end because we have such a great room of dignitaries, but I do want to acknowledge everybody. Today, we do have Karen Chazet, Mayor of City of DeBary, Carmen Rezamonda, City Manager of DeBary, Santiago Avila, Mayor of Deltona, Maritza Avila Vasquez, City of Deltona Commissioner, Thomas Burbank, City of Deltona Commissioner, Del Arrington, City of Orange City, City Manager, Kelly Marks, City of Orange City, Council Member, Alex Timonson, City of Orange City, Council Member, Lisa Stafford, City of Orange City Council Member. We have Janet Knopf, CEO of DeLand Chamber. Thank you. We have Lourdes Leon, the President of the Volusia Hispanic Chamber. We have Rafael Ramirez with Halifax Health. We have Barry Cotton with Rick Scott's office. And we have Nicolette Sevier with the Seminole Chamber. And we have Carrie Carl with the Executive Director of VCARD. And finally, Georgia Turner, my favorite selfie person. Georgia Turner with the West Volusia Tourism Advertising Authority. So that is it. Thank you. Give them all a big round of applause. At this time, I would like to invite our chair of our Government Affairs Committee, Mr. Eric Alexander, will be your moderator for today. I hope you all enjoy the event.
Thank you, Sherry, and thank you for organizing this. Another great event. It's really exciting because I know that each city has a lot of things going on, and they were going to share it with us of all the new things that are going on, and it's incredible the growth that is happening in this entire county, actually. So we're real pleased to have them all here. We thank you all for being here, taking the time to share what's going on in each one of your cities. And we're going to start out with Miss Sherry Simmons as the Executive Director of the City of DeBary. Is it Executive Director? What do you call it? Not Executive Director, excuse me. Okay, so Sherry won't be speaking today. And you do see, what is your title? Economic Development. That's why we're here today. Is that right, Sherry? Well, I'm going to turn it over to you. All right. Well, Sherry Simmons from the city of DeBary, please let you start.
Yeah, I think this is my last public appearance now. So let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. I just want to acknowledge my Vice Mayor, Phyllis Butlin, is here today. So I think you all know her. She needs no introduction, right? So good afternoon. I'm Sherry Simmons. I'm the Economic Development, Communications, and Government Affairs Director for the City of DeBary, and I'm so happy to be back. I've been away for a little bit, but I'm so happy to be back and see so many friendly faces. I'm one of 16 economic development directors in the county, and I serve proudly with my peers, many of whom are here with me today, in each city, and along with the Volusia Economic, I'm always getting Helga's title wrong, Volusia County's Economic Development Team and the fabulous Team Volusia, we work together coherently to make Volusia the best place to do business. I'm confident you're going to be impressed with all our presentations today. DeBary's, though, is the best, though. We have a lot going on, but as last year, I'm going to focus on the area. I only have 4 hours. Is that okay? All right. In our TOD, Transit-Oriented Development District, which is right around Sunrail. Our TOD allows for a functional integration of land use and transit, promoting a mix of residential, commercial, office, and public uses within walking distance while encouraging multimodal transportation options. So why are we building here? Well, we've all heard that public transit doesn't pay for itself. However, the second half of that statement is it encourages and it drives the economies of the cities or the localities that it's focused in. Sunrail, in its history, has brought over $1 billion worth of investment in the communities it's located in. And so, yeah, that was $1 billion. So, of course, we're going to try to take advantage of that. Just the projects I'm discussing today, just those projects are bringing in about $500 million worth of investment into Volusia County. So in DeBary, our economic development has 3 major goals. One is to maintain that close-knit community feeling. We are a very close-knit community, and we strive to incorporate that into our economic development. We use our economic development to build community and strengthen bonds. And the way we do that is by increasing the connectivity between residents and themselves and residents and their city. You'll see we have Clayton on there. I know Georgia knows this guy. Clayton is our dinosaur. He was a code violation, actually, at a salvage yard, but then they started dressing him up, and so he became a beloved icon of the city. And so when that salvage yard closed, they donated to the city. And I think none of us would be still working for the city if we didn't keep dressing him up and getting him as part of the city. We made him part of the city. We added a golf cart ordinance, which further brought people together. You're not state statute. You can't drive golf carts unless your city gives you permission or your county gives you permission to do that. So we've done that. Well, how did that bring people together? Someone started a DeBary golf carting page, and now 500 people who didn't know each other before meet up, and they have socials and all that. So again, that's how our economic development can help bring people together. Our second goal is adding amenities for residents that reflect our culture and values. And so our Main Street, you'll hear today, they're bringing mom and pop type stores, coffee shops, restaurants, but building public spaces, as well as adding walkability and mobility improvements. And finally, we're increasing accessibility and availability of ecotourism activities. You'll see as we go along public green spaces, opening up previously private property to the public and expanding out parks and trails. So you could see there's a lot going on here. Rivington, the big development, has about 1,000 homes. We require developers to add trails and green spaces to their community. So those trails will be connecting with the major trail system you'll see later in the presentation. With new growth coming in, you'll see that red dot is a new fire station. The state gave us a 50-50 match last year. I think we were the only city in Florida to get that appropriation for a fire station last year. I know there's more asking this year. And of course, our TOD Main Street project. Something you don't see is, is the infrastructure that we have put in prior already. We are adding traffic lights, doing road improvements, stormwater improvements. So when folks say you need to do infrastructure first, we are. And it's already in, and more is coming in. In our TOD, transit, so when I say TOD, transit-oriented development, the two major projects I've highlighted here are in various stages, and I'll just talk very briefly. The Junction, it's 289 apartments. You probably have already seen that. They're already built and occupied. Is it successful? Well, last year, the sale of that property was the second highest valued real estate sale in the county. So it's driving the need for the more apartments. 150 townhomes, they're going in right now. We have 100, the models are up. And then there's also 10 commercial out parcels and a grocery store. That grocery store, I don't know, Carmen, 99% finalized. Once that's announced, that's going to activate all the other retail spaces. And then the red circle you see over there is the trail hub for Central Florida. And again, I'm going to show you that. Across the street from the Junction is our Main Street project. That's in two phases. The top, or the north section, is approximately 250 townhomes and a few commercial out parcels. What's unique about this space, and you'll see it on here, these townhomes, the 36 townhomes that line what will be our Main Street, are going to be live-work units. Those, you can have your retail space on the bottom and live or rent above the top. We've had many inquiries already for these, so for your real estate folks in here, you want to get on board with this. This is perfect for lawyers, accountants, personal services, small. I'm hoping for a small ice cream shop, a bakery, a little coffee shop. Note the wide paved streets, and there's going to be plenty of parking availability. And then the bottom, or the south portion, will be approximately 470 apartments with again, the first floor is going to be retail. There will be a few live-work units and commercial out parcels. These spaces will be also restaurants, bakeries, and spilling out. You're going to see, I'm hoping to do, no, did the video? This, okay, so what, we had a little problems with the video, so there, oh, all right. You did it. Wow, really fixed it. Thank you. So, oh, but no sound. Sorry, guys. Balconies that we have in the apartments that's going to help engage the residents in each of the streets. And overall, there's going to be approximately 75 to 80,000 square feet of retail space in the whole project. Vehicle, golf cart, bicycle parking will be fully integrated. And I just want to say, how do these projects get done? I had written this before they all agreed to come here, but thanks to the vision of our mayor, our council, and especially our city manager for creating a thoughtful process that they put in place. So while not being able to legally stop development, I think we all are aware you can't really take away property rights. They have been able to negotiate the density in this area down almost 40% while adding assets for our community. So thank you all for your vision and helping get this done. And I think I saved my job, right? That's So let me see if I could skip over. All right. Yep. Skip over. Sorry, guys. That's it. There we go. Yep. The other video should work well. So as I mentioned, included in all this is the expansion of our public green spaces. As part of these projects, the public now has additional parks, open spaces to enjoy together. We plan on using this for parades and other fun events for the city. So this leads us to our third goal, mentioned earlier, the increasing ecotourism activities. Just a short, there we go, just a short walk away from Main Street and Sunrail. You can participate in any of these activities, fishing, river, hiking, camping even. And as I mentioned many times, DeBary is the trail hub for Central Florida, the three major Central Florida trails. You can get on your bike in DeBary, go to St. Petersburg, not me, but some of the strong, Victor, I know you could do this, right? Get on your bike, go to St. Petersburg, St. Augustine, in Cape Canaveral. And just a mile away from our Main Street project and Sunrail is something that we're very proud of. If I could, I'd let the mayor come up and speak about this today, but then we would be here for 4 hours because she's so passionate about this. After 3 years of hard work, the city finally purchased this property on February 1st. And on this map, you could see the 20 acres of uplands where 64 homes would have gone. So again, we can't buy every parcel to stop development, but we were able to purchase this. It's now going to remain a hardwood canopy park, and there's even a beach. I know Georgia Turner is very happy. She has a beach to promote in West Volusia now. And the 2-mile berm that goes around will be converted, covered pervious cover to make it a hiking, biking path that's going to connect to the rest of the hiking trails. Okay, and I'm going to, again, turn off music. There it is. So this is just a quick video. I'll push through quickly, give you a quick view of the property. So we called this Imagine. There's the beach. One of my favorite parts, that's the berm that we plan on paving or boardwalking a bit. Whoops. Well, all right. So that was just a quick picture of the property. So the next steps, we had an open house this weekend. We had almost 400 residents come out. We're now doing focus groups. I did put out, you'll see in front of you, a little card with a QR code. Please scan that, participate, let us know what you want to see in that property. We want to keep it natural, but we also want to make the amenities available, what people want to see. So we hope to have this opened in the next 18 months to 2 years. And I think that's it. So that's our vision board. I hope you are all looking forward to all the exciting things in DeBary, and that you will see that DeBary naturally is more than you imagine. Thank you.
This is Smiley Chanel, works here for us here in the Delta. We couldn't do this without her. Want to give her hands out. Thank you. She's our IT person. So thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it. And also saw a couple of folks that coming in here, not only the cities, but of course you all know we have our Team Volusia and the county here, as well as a speaker from Duke Energy. But up next is Mr. Nick Conte from the city of DeLand. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, Eric. How do you do? Just forward to this?
You're just going to
Little tech support first. Okay. No problem. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nick Conte. I appreciate you making some time. Just so I want to make sure, I don't know who sets the orders to this stuff, Sherry, but next year we're going to talk about this, okay? Because Sherry can't go first every time. That's just, man. Oh, try to follow that, Nick. Okay. So, it's right up there. Okay, so I'm kind of going to do just some what I call business snapshots, kind of what's happening. Obviously, it's not everything that's in the queue at the city, just some highlights, if you will. So, Prospect Real Estate, or as I knew them when they first came to start working with me, PCDG, purchased what was the final existing piece of inventory available in the park. That was DeVita's old lab, and they've converted it to office space, and they've got a hangar there and a couple of other items. So they were an Orlando-based company. They had a satellite office in New Smyrna, and they needed space to expand. That's kind of what I'm trying to always remind myself about. Existing businesses, not always chasing big national businesses, but what we already have to try to help them grow. The second one's more downtown. Janet, I'm sorry how the Beacon might feel about it, but there is growth in the downtown. I can't sugarcoat that any other way. This used to be what was the old Save-A-Lot. If you obviously went down Woodland, you certainly know this spot. It's been cleared. That's obviously just a kind of a cute rendering. The top shot is what it looks like today. They're getting ready to put the piping and the rest of it in there. And again, it was an investment out of Orlando, estimated currently to be about a capex of $25 million. And the part of it that I'm obviously more interested in as a practitioner is the 11 retail spaces. That's kind of what the rest of it, it's housing, great. I think it's past time to have some downtown, so I was happy to see it. Other retail, whoa, this thing kind of goes up and down. Is it better right here or here? Here? Ken, this way, like that? A little to the left, like this way, right? Back to my seat. Okay. Always one in the crowd, right? Also, just retail other that we had in the area that came in, and a lot of times I see and recruit retail, and a lot of times I don't even know about it. It just happens to already be in the pipeline. So I know a lot of people always give me guff when I bring in a big project for 10 million. Nobody talks. But when I don't bring in a steakhouse, I hear about it for about 4 weeks. Ask any of these guys and girls. So anyway, Crumble Cookie I feel pretty good about, only because I gained 10 pounds as a result of them coming into town. And a couple of them were relocations. These are sort of, the one I want to mention is a Twisted Chopstick, which has been in DeLand for quite a while. I mean, they started kind of in a small startup space. They kind of grew their business. They did a lot of outreach in the community. And now they have their own spot. I just really love those kinds of, and they took over what was an historic house and converted it into a restaurant. Not something you do, and it's definitely wasn't, it's definitely expensive just to convert, but I'm glad they're here. Exciting and good food. Okay, the second snapshot really is just a relocation. This one, Helga probably will talk about a little bit more when she comes up. So the company itself was Fit USA. They were out of Ormond Beach. It was a good news situation because they had secured a contract with the United States Marine Corps and Disney. So they're making uniforms for these organizations. And they needed a second crew, and they were active in recruiting what I call an unincorporated West Volusia. Most of their workers were already from the region. So they came in, and they're a tenant now actually in what was Deltran's old headquarters right next to the YMCA on 92. You've probably seen the signs out. They're right now the total hires are 65, but they really need another 100 because they've added so much work through the Marine Corps. So again, another time where it was an existing company. It's already here. We were fortunate enough to be working with our partners even in Ormond Beach, and Helga helped make that deal happen to keep them here because they're already here. They're growing. That's a big deal. And the best part of that story, kind of at the end of it, was another company expanding in Volusia occupied their old space in Ormond Beach. So it wasn't like they got poached and came over or something like that. So everybody won. Doesn't happen that often, but we talk about it when it does. And then finally, again, I'm going to hope this is not a theme with like consistent with businesses already happening, but we kind of forget the companies that are already here that continue to prosper. And I wanted to point out one of them, Complete Parachute Solutions, which is in DeLand, parachute capital of the world. Anybody jump here? Jumpers? Not me. Anyone else? Yeah, not me neither. So, but they actually just secured a contract, $36 million and they're working with the Navy SEALs to do some sort of specialized parachute, but they'd probably shoot you if you had to really know what the details are. They're very, very protective of those, of all of those. Oh, Sherry's done it. Well, of course Sherry has. That's what she was in Washington doing. Foreign capital, probably. Again, and then another is Advent Health. Obviously, Advent's, they're everywhere. You guys are appreciated throughout the community because of the work you do. And in the DeLand operation, they're going to be expanding their transitional care. It's just a small expansion, but for us, it's expansion, more jobs, again, in helping a company that's already been here. And of course, Sunrail, which is always a fun topic. I don't know if I'll see any county councilors. Hopefully no issues there yet. But obviously, DeLand is projected to come online. They're talking about summer of next year. There has been some building out there. It's not really a project directly in my portfolio, so I don't have a whole lot of information about it. But I could find any if anybody wants more, wants to see me about that later. And then just a municipal snapshot. This plan probably started when Dale Arrington was still a teenager on DeLand, but it's finally seen the light of day. So Eats and Drive, which is our entryway into the Northwest Industrial Base, only had a south entrance. So if you worked way inside the park, you had to drive way the back south out to get out. So obviously it made sense. The property owner, which is the Skinner family, good private partner to work with, helped in this donation of land. Now the land itself connects over to Highway 11. So now you have a natural north-south entry point. to go into an industrial park, and anybody in the industrial park business will tell you, you kind of need that. That's a kind of vital piece. So this is supposed to be opening in the summer. I go out there quite often. I'm by myself sometimes, but just to check to see what's going on. But everything's going well so far. I'm knocking on wood. So, and there's it's myself. And then this is a new video.
Nestled in the heart of Central Florida lies a bustling little town that is full of things to do. Imagine a lazy day cruising down the St. Johns River or floating in a natural Florida spring. Imagine an evening of shopping, live music, and dancing one night, and theater, dinner, and drinks the next. But DeLand isn't just a great place to live. It's also an amazing place to do business. Centrally located with easy access to I-4 and I-95, DeLand is less than 20 miles from Daytona Beach and under 45 minutes to Orlando, and within easy driving distance of the largest shipping ports in the state. We're also just a short drive away from the rapidly growing spaceport at Cape Canaveral. And we are pleased to showcase our DeLand Airport Business Park at more than 130 acres. The industrial park has sites available from 2 to 35 acres, all for lease on the DeLand Airport property. These sites are zoned for industrial, aviation, and space-related industries, and we already have power, water, sewer, natural gas, and telecom available on most sites, and pride ourselves on our streamlined permitting process, allowing you to move from planning to production as quickly as possible. With our abundance of resources, business-friendly environment, and shovel-ready locations, we think you'll find that DeLand is a great place to start or expand your business. A place that welcomes growth and innovation, with new housing opportunities coming available every day. DeLand is a place that you and your employees can truly call home. A place full of entertainment, art, and a vibrant and inclusive community surrounded by natural beauty and welcoming neighbors. DeLand has all the charm of a small town, but with all the amenities of big city living. Welcome to DeLand.
That was done by a local filmmaker. I wish I could take any credit other than being out there I was like the gopher person. I got to see all the shots. It was awesome. So we got out of that, obviously, footage, which you just saw. I'm going to use that, obviously, targeted directly for site selection. Obviously, vast Team Volusia to use that footage as well in case we get a live one, so to speak. But for the most part, that was also a company from DeLand that made that film. I try to make sure that when we're spending, we even spend within our own community. It's important. So I think with that, I want to thank everybody and return it to whoever the next practitioner is, Eric. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nick. Our next presenter, I must say, we're one of my favorite people, and we're going to miss this guy. He's only been trying to retire about 5 times from the city of Deltona, economic director, but he's done a lot of good stuff for this city. I'd like to introduce Mr. Jerry Mays.
Just let me know when
Thank you very much. First of all, this is a wonderful venue to hold any type of an organizational meeting. The center at Deltona is truly a wonderful event center and a lovely building. After 12 years, yes, I am going to retire, and I'm looking forward to it. But we've done a lot of things in the last 12, 15, 20 years in Deltona. We have a lot of dreams yet to do. I'd like to thank team members from throughout Volusia County. Team Volusia, Volusia County Economic Development, Volusia County Utilities, all the different ones, everyone who plays a part of the game. My fellow practitioners sitting up here at the table with me. We all work together and we all benefit. Jobs in Deltona mean jobs for our surrounding cities. Jobs in our surrounding cities mean jobs for the people of Deltona. We all work together, and it's worked out well. Just a couple folks I want to introduce real quickly. Bob, Perla, Wave to everyone. These are the folks who put together My Deltona magazine, that nice glossy publication you may have seen out and around. So they're here going to be meeting with us today. Thank you. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start the video, and I'll quit talking. Welcome to Deltona, a young city with its sights set clearly on the future. Once a sleepy retirement community, Deltona now is not only the largest city in Volusia County, but the largest city between Orlando and Jacksonville on the I-4, I-95 corridor. Deltona is a city of unlimited opportunities. We are transforming its image as a sleepy bedroom community into a bustling business hub.
The commercial has just always been trying to grow, and now we're finally seeing it.
At the center of it all, the 1.4 million square foot Amazon Fulfillment Center, which brought 1,500 jobs to our city.
That was a huge coup for the city, and it just kind of helped put Deltona on the map.
And that's just the beginning. Another 2.5 million square feet of commercial space is currently under development throughout the city. Included in that is the 1 million square foot logistics space under construction in what is known as the I-4 Logistics Park. Other projects under construction or under consideration include Halifax Crossing. This is a 109-acre development that includes Halifax Village. That's a 55-plus age community and assisted living facility. Now, this age-in-place project will result in 300 or more medical-related jobs. The project also includes apartments, hotel, restaurants, and retail shops. Then there's Synergy at Normandy. This project includes 230,000 square feet of warehouse, retail, and office space. That will be enough to house 40 businesses. The developer also incorporated more than 300 apartments into the design. Next up, the Nutty Bavarian. This development is to be built near the Amazon facility on North Normandy Boulevard. It includes nearly 53,000 square feet of food manufacturing space. There's a group of developers that is going to be building 414 apartments in the Deltona Village complex. At the south end of the city is the Enterprise Osteen East project. This is 118 acres of mixed-use development. It's part of the Osteen Joint Planning area, and the developers have proposed building 253 single-family homes. Now, the remaining land would be used for retail and general office space. Deltona is about more than just warehouse space. The city has become a medical hub in Volusia County. The Halifax Health, University of Florida Health Hospital, up next to I-4 on Halland Boulevard, is at the center of one of the city's major medical innovation areas. The facility plans to expand with a medical office building in the southeast area of the city across from the Walmart Supercenter.
We are very proud and thankful to the city of Deltona and their staff for welcoming us to the city.
Deltona has always focused development on job creation. In the fourth quarter of 2022, Deltona had a labor force of 46,537 workers with an unemployment level of just 2.9%. You could say Deltona works. And it does. Deltona does work, but it also plays. Ecotourism continues to attract visitors to our world-class trails, multiple nature viewing parks, and to our Butler Chain of Lakes Blue Ways Trail. That's for kayaks, canoeing. Now that's 25 plus miles of internally connected lakes. Whether your passion is bird watching, fishing, or kayaking, the city's outdoor options provide something for everyone. That's for both our citizens, for their quality of life, and for our visitors, for tourism. Deltona is young and optimistic, and businesses and developers from all over come to see the potential of Deltona and what we have to offer.
There's a lot more opportunity still, and when it comes to those things that are needed, the city makes sure it gets it done.
Thank you for visiting with us in Deltona today.
Can we give Jerry one more hand? This will be his last time. Y'all have worked with him. We love you, Jerry. Our next economic director well, actually, Becky, you have a little bit of even different title, don't you? From the city of Orange City, I'd like to introduce Ms. Becky Mendez. And you can do your right title. What is your title?
Development Services Director.
There we go.
I play Economic Development Manager as a side gig. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. So, this is a good session. It's a fun forum. As you can tell, we have a lot of fun together. We see each other quite often, so we get to swap these stories often. So it's old hat for most everybody up here, but it's a great team. We're lucky to have all of them here. Last year, 2022, we opened 128 new businesses, which tracked with previous years around the same number. We had 1,100 annually renew. Almost 20% of those new businesses are home-based, and we'll probably continue to see that percentage rise as the new state law that makes operating your business out of your home much easier. Orange City welcomed this year Dr. Gupta's 15,000 square foot gastroenterological surgical center expansion on Wellness Avenue, and the Florida Cancer Specialists and Research Institute's new 25,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility on Enterprise Road. Both of those opened, and they're open for business. We also celebrate DeLand Motorsports' relocation of their showroom into Orange City. It's been almost a year since they opened. It was under construction when we were here last year. Still DeLand Motorsports, but they're doing well, and we're happy to have them. Again, as Nick said, we want the businesses that are expanding to stay here in Volusia County, whether it's in a local city or in unincorporated Volusia County. The point is to keep them here because they employ all of our residents. Dollar General opened this year too. I only mention that because my boss says it's the prettiest discount store you'll find in Volusia County. The year, it really was dominated with the new medical coming online and moving into vacant tenant spaces. Brooks Rehabilitation expanded, and convenience retail continues to find their space in that ever-changing retail market. So we're seeing success in all of those areas. Under construction, we have about 88, almost $90 million worth of construction that's still being built. First and foremost is let me change my page. My notes aren't on there. 2 more medical facilities, including the 50,000 square foot post-acute medical recovery hospital on Veterans Memorial Parkway. That Park Hill planned unit development on VMP has 4 phases under construction currently, which is the self-storage that you see on the screen, 300 apartments, of course, the hospital, and the infrastructure for D.R. Horton's next single-family residential community. The new starts currently under construction have that total valuation of almost $90 million. So we got a lot happening. Redevelopment, there's, I saw the beacon here. Where's Al? We issued the internal renovation permit for Aldi's to go into the vacant Bed Bath & Beyond. The big box in those strip malls, when those big retail spaces become vacant, it's difficult sometimes to fill them. Aldi is going in there. We issued the building permit last month, and so you'll see that construction begin. And then the last vacant, who's been in Volusia County for more than 15 years, Kmart, which is called the Marketplace Shopping Center, where the card room is at Saxon and Enterprise. That old Kmart building sat vacant for almost 10 years, 10, 12 years, right? And the property manager carved it up into 3 separate tenant spaces. 2 are filled. Top Shelf is going into the last and final, and they're actually kind of expanding out into the garden center. Top Shelf is Dollar General's answer to Holly Lobby and Michael's Crafts. May have seen some social media traffic on that if anybody's paying attention to Facebook. Our planned development, we have two significant planned unit development at 472 and Kentucky intersection. The crossings is the first one. It's providing neighborhood convenience and multifamily uses. And the one immediately south to it is the industrial. The crossings will mass grade the site. We're this close for getting a shovel in the ground. So you'll start to see that development begin soon. Circle K and multifamily are the two phases that are under review for the crossings project. North Kentucky industrial is already approved. The city council approved the 650,000 square foot of warehouse distribution and our light medium industrial. The owners have requested a slight modification to accommodate a specific end user, which we didn't know at the time, and we should be bringing that back to city council shortly. Finalize that within the next few months, and that project really provides a diversification of job types that Orange City currently lacks. We do have some industrial zoned areas, but they're very small buildings, so they're busting at the seams. They need to expand into larger industrial buildings that we simply don't have in Orange City. Orange City investment. The City Council adopted their 5-year capital improvement plan this month, which includes more than $44 million worth of funded capacity improvement projects within the Orange City area. That's not all city funded, of course. We rely on the state and county and city funds, school board funds, $28 million for the renovation and school seats in Orange City Elementary. Along with the grants and the interest loans, we work very closely with all of our partners. We have a very robust capital improvement plan. We continue to extend that sewer service north along the 1792 corridor to encourage the redevelopment in our community redevelopment agency area, along with addressing water quality issues due to the Orange City's proximity to the Blue Spring Basin. The city and county's transportation improvement plans are focused on that Veterans Memorial Parkway corridor, which aligns with the 472, recognizing Deltona's development and the industrial hub, DeLand's development at that intersection, as well as Orange City. So that Veterans Memorial Parkway extension into 472 becomes very significant, and the county has funded almost $3 million this year towards the design and furthering of that project. The dreaded Enterprise and 1792 intersection, we call it Orange City's own Bermuda Triangle, if you will. It's getting a complete overhaul, funded completely by FDOT. We'll be taking out that merge lane. Pretty dangerous. I'm sure all of you are familiar with that merge action heading north onto 1792. So we'll make that much safer for everybody driving in the area. One last plug for Orange City. The CRA board, which is our city council, continues to fund the facade improvement grant program, which is a dollar for dollar match up to $5,000 for exterior upgrades to your commercial storefront along the 1792 corridor. If you need additional information, please come see me afterwards or visit our website. And there's our new city council. Congratulations.
Thank you, Becky. A lot of those things we've, by the way, my position is with Caldwell Banker Commercial AI Group, and a lot of those things we have had touched on, and it's great to be a part of this county. Coming up next, I'd like to introduce Miss Elizabeth Godwin from Duke Energy. She's the industry recruitment, correct, individual for Duke Energy. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all this afternoon. Oh. There we go. Okay, so as Eric said, my name is Elizabeth Godwin. I'm the Senior Manager of Industry Recruitment for Duke Energy here in Florida. You might be wondering, why is Duke Energy sitting up here on a panel with economic developers? And so I'm going to be very brief, but I'd like to just explain a little bit about how and why we do economic development at Duke Energy. So Duke Energy and our predecessor companies have been involved in economic development in this state since the 1940s. It's looked different over the years, but we do it because it's good for the communities we serve. That diversification of the tax base that Becky talked about is so critical for the community, for the people that are our customers, and it's a benefit to our company and our business as well. So in the last 2 years, we have really grown our economic development program at Duke Energy. We went from 3 dedicated people to a team of 11, and we're supporting economic development at all levels. So from supporting early stage companies to going after the big fish with Keith and his team, we are engaged at all levels. I'm going to talk about just one of the pillars of our program, which is our site readiness program. So site readiness is a program we've been doing across our states. If you don't, Duke Energy serves portions of 6 states. And we've done this since the early 2000s. And we do this because we need something to sell to these companies. And for us, that's often land. So we are proactively identifying sites that are suitable for industrial development. That's really our focus, is industrial. And we are working with site selection consultants to vet these properties, to figure out what types of industries they're best suited for, understanding their flaws or weaknesses, putting together resources to improve those flaws. We create lots of marketing materials for those, which I'll talk about more in a second. But really just trying to engage with the community and all of the different stakeholders to identify our product and what we can take to market. Oops, back up. So we've done 327 of these across our 6 states. In Florida, I think we've done something like 45, and we've had some major announcements resulting in $12.5 billion of private capital investment. So here in West Volusia, we've done a number of them. I just picked 2 to highlight. So on the left-hand side, this is an example of the flyers that we create for these properties. We also work with an engineering firm to create conceptual plans. So what you see there is just conceptual, but it helps kind of cast a vision for these properties and people understand what's possible. So on the left-hand side, we did the Portland Industrial Park, which is what it was called at the time. It's now the I-4 Logistics Park over in Deltona. And Jerry, I think we did that in like 2015, 14. Yeah. So these things certainly take time, but we walked hand in hand with the city of Deltona over the course of years. We provided additional funding to help make the site more ready to market it. Eventually RMA came in and did their thing. And then, we finally landed Amazon, which was a huge win and really kind of planted West Volusia on the map for these bigger industrial deals. So that's been a great success for us. And then on the right-hand side, you see what just kind of referred to as the 472 properties. And we certainly were not the first people to see the potential in this. The county has been involved in what was called the Southwest Activity Center for decades. But we got a number of landowners together to, again, just kind of come to the table, talk about where are the utilities, what are the capacities, what do you want, and then created marketing materials for those. We created a great drone video. It makes Keith Norden tear up every time he sees it. But we take that and we use all of these materials and we go out and we're selling across the country to site selection consultants, to real estate brokers and developers, letting them know this is what we have to offer. These are relatively ready sites that you can come to today. And we do direct marketing campaigns, all kinds of things to just help get the word out about Florida and specifically Volusia County. So what I do specifically at Duke is really to help package the energy value proposition. So we're taking those sites that we have vetted, but more and more energy is becoming a bigger part of these economic development deals. So whether it's because they want to have EV charging for all of their trucks that are going to be on the road, like we've seen Amazon start to do, or they have renewable energy goals and they need on-site solar in order to meet those. It's just becoming a bigger part of their site selection decision. And so we're at the table in partnership with all of these people up here today, helping them to understand and to sell our community. And we also help them understand their rate options. We've got some new incentive programs to attract high impact projects. Like I said, sustainable energy solutions for their renewable energy goals, and just being a part of this trusted team. So that's a very quick overview of what we do at Duke Energy. I appreciate the opportunity to share that with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. She's a little taller than I am. Coming up next, I don't think this guy needs hardly any introduction, does he now? After we've been very appreciative of having Team Volusia and worked with them very closely. I'd like to introduce Mr. Keith Norden. Happy to have you with us this year, Keith. Team Volusia.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Good afternoon. Elizabeth was correct. I don't want you to think that I get very emotional, but the video had a great score, and the logo of Team Volusia and Duke Energy were together, and with that, I broke up. It was a beautiful video, and I'm sorry she didn't bring it so you could see me actually cry on stage. But welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to join all my colleagues here. It's great to give you an update. Many of you in the room know about Team Volusia. Many of you are engaged in Team Volusia actively. And, we work very well with the group on this stage and our practitioners on the east side as well. Economic development is a team sport. No one entity has ever won a project. It's the team of professionals that are brought to the table to win the project. And I'm very pleased that in Volusia County, we work very well together. We like each other, and we really enjoy working together. I hope we like each other. Sherry? Okay, all right. Anyway, the great thing about Team Volusia, some of the folks in this room actually helped put the group together in 2010. But it's a great leveraging of the public sector, the private sector, and then our colleges and universities. So as you can see, it's a group of individuals that we work with, private sector, public, transportation, utility partners, workforce partners, all of it goes together to sell the region adequately. We're very proud to have 51% of our budget come in from the private sector, very engaged, 85 companies around the county. 7 colleges and universities are engaged, and then we get 44% of our funding from the governments. You can see equal share of county in the 14 municipalities. We actually have just announced the city of Oak Hill coming on board. And we are coming in front of the town council of Ponce Inlet this month, and hopefully we'll have that approved. So we all work with cooperative agreements. We provide services, and then we are under contract for the services. And then about $600,000 from the private sector. The interesting thing about our makeup is we are great leverage to the public sector. The public sector pays operations and nothing else, mostly salaries and rent. Everything else is paid for by the private sector. And so we can really leverage the amount paid for by our municipalities. This is just a slide of all of our generous private sector donors. You will recognize most of their logos, and many of the companies are here in the room. This is just a slide of our really engaged officers. We've been blessed with leadership from day one. I've been so impressed since I've been here. It's been, I will start my 11th year in October. Many of you were in the interview process, so you're saying, oh my gosh, he stayed 11 years. But anyway, but great leadership across the board. We also have George Rechtenwall as an officer, our county manager. Very proud to have Joyce Shanahan, city manager of Ormond Beach, as an officer as well. I just want to do a shout out of the staff and the team that we have. We couldn't do what you're about to see without the team that we have. Actually, 2 of my team members are in the back. And if you'd stand up, Harry and Tracy. And just comment whether their headshots look like them. I'd just like to hear from the audience. I don't really like my headshot. I used my headshot for years and years and years that was taken in 2008 in Tampa. And finally, the team said, you don't look like that anymore. Like you can't use it. So I am going to revise this one. Just joking with you. These are our activities. So, you know, we do outreach as our major focus. We work very closely, as I mentioned, with the all of the folks up here, but particularly the Volusia County Economic Development Department in Helga. We're like twins joined to the hip, but Helga specializes in retention and business expansion, and we are exclusively focused on outreach. Marketing, we also do. We market the area for business. Many other great entities market for tourism and other lifestyle operations, but really marketing it for business and also talent attraction. And then we have many community partnerships. I serve on many boards, and we help our partners in relationships. And then definitely Harry specializes in competitive intelligence so that we know what's going on in other places of the country when we're attracting these companies to the area. And another slide of what we do, site selection assistance, and all of our companies that come to us need these things done for them before they make a positive decision on Volusia County. Just a couple of things about our targets. And I'm using examples of some of the targets that we are very aggressively going after. Aviation aerospace, of course, because of our location. We're the northern end of the space triangle. So we're very close to everything going on at Kennedy, but we also have the educational institutions like Embry-Riddle that are so well known internationally. Just a note, Technetics here in the city of DeLand, and I'm very proud that Nick is here with us, but Technetics actually manufactures the seals in every rocket that's launched off of Kennedy Space Center. And that's a great market share, and it's right in the city of DeLand. And then also we have 5 general aviation airports. We have been successful at, recruiting companies, international companies in that sector. Then also logistics, because of our God-given location at the intersection of I-95 and I-64. I-4, not I-64. That goes back 20 years. I apologize. It's all up here. So another location, another state. Sherry would know I-64. But anyway, but we are the intersection of those two interstates, and we have equidistant between 2 deep water parts. So that makes us a real logistics location. And then manufacturing with Boston Whaler and Cardinal Health and all the other manufacturers we have about 500 manufacturers. So we actually use that actively. Very proud of the sales funnel. We've got over 110 projects here, 6 in negotiations. Those 6 in negotiations right now, stage 4, 2 are in aviation aerospace, 2 are in health, and 2 are in manufacturing. So a broad base, broad diversity. We have some announcements pending, so be on the lookout for those. And then this is just a snapshot of what we've done last year, 160 million capital investment, 5 projects, and an annual payroll new to the community of 8.113 million. I believe Tracy has a few annual reports if you'd like to see our annual report from last year. Ocelot is a real success story. Ocelot looked at 120 locations in the southeast, and they decided on Volusia County. They're located at Embry-Riddle's Microplex, Brazilian company that does a lot of work with Embraer. And so that's a great win for us. And then this is just a project update. You heard Jerry talk and Elizabeth talk about Amazon. This is the Amazon Daytona Beach Fulfillment Center. If Amazon hadn't been pleased with their experience in Deltona and the great work that that Jerry did and Elizabeth did, and they would not have expanded within Volusia County. So this is just a snapshot of what the facility looks like. It's a bit bigger. It's 2.8 million square feet with a 200 million capital investment, and it is almost adjacent to Daytona Beach International Airport. We've worked throughout the years with metrics, and I'm very proud that the team actually last year did 311 face-to-face meetings. These are not casual meetings where we might go out and see Joe in the lobby or at the boys club event. These are pre-scheduled meetings here and then basically in Florida and then abroad and throughout the U.S. And then, of course, the reason for those meetings is to familiarize the person we're meeting with the business advantages of Volusia County. We're known about a lot of wonderful things. We're a great place to live and a great place to learn and work. But we need to make sure they understand the many advantages we have here. Very proud that we brought on 8 new investors, and we had 27 site visits. So we really are more of a sales organization. We're an economic development group, but we look at these numbers constantly, and we report them monthly to you in our newsletter. If you'd like to obtain our newsletter and sign up, we're happy to do that. We have a large distribution list, and one just went out yesterday. We were invited by the U.S. Commercial Service to go to Brazil in February, and Helga actually suggested that we go, and I'm very, very pleased. It required 2 of us to go, so Harry and I went and met with over 24 companies. We actually saw 300 companies, and we were the only representative for Florida. Brazil and Florida are very close. It was a great advantage for us, and we were also there. What's interesting, we were there with Metro Atlanta and the state of Georgia, and then the region of Texas, south of Austin and north of San Antonio. So a great advantage for us, and we were the Florida representative. So very, very pleased. The gentleman that makes me look really small is actually the president of Ocelot's Brazil facility, the headquarters facility, and he came into Sao Paulo and actually did a great testimonial in front of 60 C-level people at the Consul General's residence. So it was a great, great time. Now, if you really want to know what it's like traveling with Keith Norton, pull Harry aside, because I don't sleep on planes and I talk a lot during the trip. So if you want to ask him what it's like traveling with me, and if you're ever invited to go with me, ask Harry what it's like first before you accept. And then we have SpaceCom, which we exhibited at the Orlando Convention Center, the Orange County Convention Center. Very, very pleased. We had some active projects there, but we also met many companies. And the wonderful thing about exhibiting in Orlando is many of our practitioners were able to participate. So a great, great show there. And we are working some of those leads. And then many of you were at our annual meeting. I just want to do a shout out for our speakers. We had Laura DeBella, the Florida Secretary of Commerce, and then Mark Bottringer, who is with the Space Force. And I think he was showing slides that he probably shouldn't have shown us, because I didn't know all that stuff was going on at Kennedy Space Center. And the only thing I know is we couldn't share the slides with anybody. So they had to be very, very important slides. Then I'm very proud of something that Tracy worked on last year. And this was our Summer of FAM. It stretched out for most of the year. As you can see, it started April 12th, ended December 9th, and we visited every city. The important thing about these visits is we heard things that were very important for us to share with our prospects and our clients when we met them on the road. Now, I will always embarrass Carmen. Carmen really took the tour seriously. Some of you have heard this. He jumped into my two-wheel drive Jeep and started driving me over high mountains in the city of DeBary. And I kept saying, well, this is only a two-wheel drive Jeep. And so he said, no, I want you to see this view. So I know Vice Mayor gets tired of hearing that too, but you had to be there to believe it. But it was a great tour, and all the tours are great that we did, and we hope to redo those this coming year. And I'm around for questions. I can't say enough about the collaboration we have with all these folks and with all of the entities, the CEO Business Alliance, the county, and all of our municipalities, chambers. The list goes on and on. I've been in other areas, and it doesn't always happen like this. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Being at that dinner with the gentleman from the Space Coast, I think Space Force, one of the most amazing things he showed was how they are working on sending rockets just like we would sending a FedEx airplane or such, where there would be a landing on each of in Europe or Africa or wherever, and they just within minutes be able to send product or these big boxes with these rockets across the ocean and back and forth is one of the things they're working on. It's amazing, isn't it? We are moving up. And now I would like to introduce our county representative of economic development. You know her, you love her, Helga Van Ackert, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me here again this year. I just want to say this is probably one of my favorite events of the year, and I want to thank Sherry for doing it and inviting us this year, because it's an opportunity where we don't just get to talk about what's going on around the county as a whole, but we get to hear about the feet on the street and the day-to-day stuff that our city practitioners are doing, and they truly don't get enough kudos. So just real quick, you guys. Does this come off?
Sure.
I'm actually much better this way. Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you. I'm a pacer. So, all right. So I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here. I am the director of the Volusia County Division of Economic Development, and it's my honor to work with all of these people here today. For those of you who don't know what our office does, we actually we stick our foot or our fingers into everything going on from an economic standpoint. We work with Keith's group on recruitment and the cities on recruitment. Our focus is expansion and retention of existing businesses such as yourself. And we also go into creation and entrepreneurship. We're probably, I'm sure we are the largest investor in Keith's group, Team Volusia, because we probably believe in Team Volusia more than anybody else does. It's a phenomenal organization, and it's an honor to work with them. We also are the funders for the UCF incubator, which is located at Deltona Airport, but available to all of the county. It's a great organization as well, and it's a pleasure to work with them, and it makes sure that we create the diversity within our community. Some of you may have taken advantage of the resources that are available there. So we, like I said, we tinker in a lot. At your tables, you actually have a copy of our Q book. It's a spiral book. Well, one of the other things that our office does is the demographics and the statistics of the economy in our area. That's my role today, is to really talk about where we are as a community. But I'm a former marketer, so I'm doing a couple shameless plugs. Okay. You're also going to find on most of your tables, because I got the wrong table count, a little gift basket or a gift pouch that has inside of it is a screen wiper. All right. It cleans your screen and then wipes it off. It is not breath freshener. Please do not try to take it. And this is probably the reason I'm a former marketer. I thought this was a great thing until my boss put it in his mouth. So, but it really is cool for your computer screens. So you should do it. Okay, so with that, last year when I was here, again, shameless plug, I talked about Volusia Business Resources as a program that we were doing to try to get our finger on the pulse of what our business community needs, the existing businesses, the ones that are expanding, or in some cases, the ones that were struggling. We wanted to know what the primary concerns were. And in order to do that, we pulled together the brain trust of this community, all of your economic development professionals, whether they be at the city level, the chambers, the universities, all of them. We brought them all together. We did a survey, got results. I think I talked to most of you about this last year. Many of you responded to the survey, and we thank you for that because it helped us to develop programs that we have in place this year. This group meets on initially last year was a bi-monthly basis. We've given them reprieve. We're down to quarterly now. But we did create subcommittees that we still require to meet monthly. So we're not letting them go completely. And a lot of them are here, so I'm just going to ask them to stand up for a moment. Anybody who's on the VBR team, please take a stand. And this is a phenomenal group of people. Everybody up here should be standing as well. So if you don't know what Volusia Business Resources is, and you are not familiar with some of the amazing things we're doing, there's almost one person at every table that you can talk to. It's important that you understand that. Last year, one of the main concerns we had was that our businesses didn't know about the resources. Our survey actually showed that the businesses didn't know what was available, and many of our practitioners didn't know what the other practitioners did. Because we all get so involved in our day-to-day activities, and we're all so focused on providing what's necessary. Sometimes we forget, person next to me did this last week. They can help me. They can lift me. We can work together on that. That's what VBR does. It brings those people in the room to have that conversation. So the first thing we did was create a Volusia Business Resources website that has all of those businesses on there. You go on, you go through a process, and you can find exactly what you're looking for. I don't have it live on here, but you have a QR code. I'm really going to suggest you take a picture of it. You go to it and take a couple of minutes and look through it. It's a great resource. And it also has information on starting a business, where to go, who to talk to, and it's only getting better. Also has a calendar on it that all of our partners provide information to us on what they're doing, and it's up there. So anything you're looking for is available on that site. Okay, that's my plug. Now I'm going to get to what I was asked to talk about. Do I have 5 minutes left? Okay. Florida is hot on so many levels. Last year alone, there was a study done by Smart Assets in 2022 of the inflow and outflow of money, the migration of money throughout the states. Florida is the #1 location for households with an income of $200,000 or more. They came to Florida, okay? #1 location. When you look and you drill down a little bit to Volusia, and I'm going to give you a lot of stats today, so if you get bored of numbers, put your head down. Volusia County itself, $301 million of new money on the street last year in migration. I mean, that's a phenomenal grade. Florida, just last month, well, now it's April, so 2 months ago, in February, Florida's workforce exceeded that workforce that you saw in New York. And it's not just in Florida. We're seeing it in Volusia County. This is my favorite slide because this is specific to Volusia County's economy. We are as strong as a rock, or the rock, whichever you want it to be. I have a strange sense of humor, but if you look at it, year over year, unemployment's up 5.4%. I mean, employment's up 5.4%. Our airport traffic, the passenger traffic at the airport, up 18.9%. Tourism, Georgia, you got me on this, right? 19.9% up over the previous year. Residential construction, 2.5%. Commercial construction, 5.4%. Home sale prices, 23%. I mean, we are killing it. When you look at the industries, manufacturing's 8%, leisure, hospitality, 10.9%, professional services, 8.5%. I mean, Volusia County really is kicking it right now. Look at our population growth. Population growth in the state of Florida, 6.4% over the past 5 years. Volusia County, 6.6%. Now, if we take that state and county number and we drill down locally, on this slide, you'll see the cities that are represented by this chamber have a box around them. You guys have seen this number before, and I believe it's in your books. I couldn't do a 5-year growth chart, but because it wasn't available for that, we have to go by census and expectations. So between 2010, 2022, you can see the growth, the percent growth of your areas. And then we can break it down. Oh, goodness, we can break it down without the full slide, it looks like. Hold on. Well, this is supposed to be a pie chart that shows you the percent workforce. I don't know what happened. I'm telling you, when we emailed it, it was whole. But you can see your workforce is still 60% of your population. The other slide, that piece of this that's missing, gives you the breakdown of the workforce itself and age groups. And anybody who wants to know it, you all have my cell phone number now because you've got my card on your things. You can give me a call and I'll get it over to you, I promise. So take a minute. Let's look at our employment. Today, our workforce is the largest it has ever been, as long as we've been recording it. All right. Total available workforce today, 271,000 plus within our county. And our employment is at the highest it's ever been. Our unemployment has never been as low as it is right now. Actually, I think we're lower than 2.8, but this is 2.8 in February. So you can tell by this chart that the yellow band is the unemployed, and it's shrinking as you're going up, which when you think your population is increasing, that your unemployment would be increasing. But look at your business growth. Business growth, 15% over the past 5 years. Now that's all levels of business. We've got over 15,000 existing businesses in this county, and it is growing. And like Becky said, when the ability to have more home-based businesses gets through and gets changed, you're going to see that number increase. And there's a lot more entrepreneurship going on today than there was yesterday. So I want to drill the major industries down just a little bit. Logistics. Now you've heard about Amazon, you heard about the I-4 corridor and the things that Keith's group and that the workers up here are bringing in. 112% increase year over year in employment associated with logistics. Information, on the other hand, we're seeing a drop, 28% drop. That's a substantial reduction. Now, information isn't IT, because that's apparently where everybody's brain goes now. It's publications, newspapers, those kinds of things. And because of social media, a lot of those jobs are showing under professional services as opposed to information, right? But you can see overall, we've got 8.6% growth in jobs associated with this. Okay. Anybody concerned about the residential construction and the return of the big drop? This slide's a great example. If you look all the way to the left, the blue, the columns that go up are telling you the number of permits. The line that goes across is telling you the value, total value of those permits, right? Now, if you look on the far left, the total value of the permit with the number of permits are both very high, right? So we had a lot of new permits, a lot of new growth, and the cost associated with it was at one level. You look on the far right now, how to be sure. Anybody do exercise in the morning with the TV? It's so freaking confusing if they're saying left and right, and can't figure that out. So, but anyway, the residential, if you go to the far right, you can see the number of permits have reduced, but the value of those permits has gone up, which is phenomenal when it comes to a revenue stream for your government so that your taxes remain low. So good things going on there as well. I wouldn't worry about that dropping. Then we take it down a little bit deeper. We go local. You can see on the left-hand side, the commercial permits, bar chart broken down by the 4 municipalities that are up there. And then on the green, on the other side, it shows you the residential permits, the value of those permits. And you can see where the growth is going from side to side, okay? This is great information. I mean, I know I'm going through it very quickly. It's all on our website. So and if you have any questions or want anything a little bit deeper, we've got that information for you. But again, it comes from working with all of the players in this room, all of the people that are involved in economic development, which includes the businesses. And it's imperative that we hear from them. And while I can't personally go out door to door, we have got so many feet on the street with Volusia Business Resources. That information does come back. So please share your thoughts, your concerns, your worries, what's going right for you today, what you need for tomorrow, so that we can put programs in place that will respond to that. I'm really happy to tell you that I got to spend 4 hours yesterday at the county council meeting. And while the time, you know, it's a long time, but we came out with 3 new programs that are going to be available to businesses that our county council approved. This council, your city councils all supported them. They are 100% behind smart growth within our community and being able to make sure that where we are today is improved tomorrow from all aspects, quality of life, business growth, everything that's up there. It's important for me that we are able to keep in touch. I'm shutting up, I promise. Okay, they're getting the hook. Lots of QR codes up here, but communication is everything in this industry. Everybody will tell you who's up here. Networking is key, but as well as being informed, our office puts out a weekly newsletter called Economic Scene. I'm not going to ask how many of you have it. I'm going to assume you all get it. And if you don't, I'm going to assume you're clicking on the QR code so that you get it from now on, because it's a phenomenal piece of information. It gives you everything that's going on within the county overall, as well as within the state and the nation. Our website is up there. We are on social media. Please follow us. And if you don't like to use them, here's my phone number. Call me if you have any questions, if you need anything from us, or any concerns. The QR code is not mine. The QR code that's up here is a survey question that's going to get you guys started so that you respond to us next time we call looking for information. So my staff is actually monitoring today when I come back to see how many of you have hit the QR code and provided one answer. That's all I want, just one answer, so that I can tell them this works. All right? And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, before we finish with our featured speaker, you guys have been breaking your necks, and I apologize so much. We should have put a monitor up for you. We've been watching you down there in pain. If you all want to go ahead and have a seat and get cheesecake. Cheesecake Tino's is in the house, Brian Abesso, and he has cheesecake back there. So if you'd like to get some cheesecake, we have Steph's Kitchen. She makes homemade scones. They're the best. So if you want to help yourself, and then we'll be right back with you.
equality of opportunity for the Florida Chamber of Commerce Foundation. I asked Kyle earlier about the word foundation conjures up some different kind of thoughts. You'll be a little surprised at actually all that they do. And we're really, really thrilled that he was able to come down here and to share with us here at this economic forum what's going on. So as soon as you get your cheesecake, your waters, because Kyle's going to start, if we can, Mr. Kyle Baltuch from the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Thanks, Kyle.
Of course. There you
Sorry
go.
about the mess.
Oh, you're all right. And thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate being here. So my name is Kyle Baltuch. I serve as the Senior Vice President at the Florida Chamber Foundation, and really excited to be here today because this is a little bit of a speech that I don't get to do all the time. So my background is I actually spent the first decade of my career as an economist. I still teach within the graduate department at Florida State today as an adjunct lecturer. But a lot of the conversations I have right now are more about community health. I do a lot of our work as it relates to early learning and childhood poverty. So to be up here today and give a conversation more about, the economic outlook of a community kind of brings me back to my roots. So thank you guys for having me. Some of my information is pretty similar to Helga's. Some of it looks different, but is actually the same. I'll kind of just explain the context there. But if you have any thoughts, honestly, feel free to grab me afterwards or just shout out, hey, what does that mean as we go through it? So at the Florida Chamber Foundation, we focus on 6 different pillars, and I'll show that here on the next slide. But we are the research analysis and think tank arm of the Florida Chamber of Commerce holistically. So if you look at any of the policy projects that come out of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, if you look at any of the information that we're putting out, it is all coming out from the Florida Chamber Foundation team. We have a team of about 15 researchers, marketing agents, and different program leaders that are working across these 6 different pillars. And the whole goal is how do we build Florida into the 10th largest economy in the world? Right now, we are 16th. If you were to break us off from the United States of America and you were to look at our GDP, which the newest figure just came out, is about $1.44 trillion a year, we would be the 16th largest in the world, larger than Mexico, nearly the size of Spain. Over the next 6.5 years, between now and 2030, we're going to add about 2.8 million residents to the state of Florida. And by the way, when I say residents, that's net new residents. And most of them will be moving here. In fact, last year, 40,000 more people died in the state of Florida than were born in the state of Florida. So our natural growth in terms of our population is a net negative. That's last in the nation. But our growth in terms of overall population is first in the nation. We'll talk a little bit about where they're coming from here in a moment. But about 550,000 people exchanged out-of-state driver's license last year for Florida driver's license. We'll add about 1.42 million net new jobs, about 40 million more visitors on top of the nearly 150 million visitors that are coming to Florida each year, and about 2.4 million more drivers on the road, something I'm sure we're all excited about. If you look at our 6 different pillars, they break down everything from talent supply and education and what does early learning look like through, high school graduation rates and adult education, to quality of life pillar when we look at things like childhood poverty or the health of a community or transportation within a community, to economic growth and infrastructure and leadership. This is some of the information that we focus on and that is updated every day. So if you went to the floridascorecard.org, you'd be able to see this information for your state or any county in the state of Florida that you wanted to look at. So again, I mentioned that 1.42 million jobs. Here in Volusia County, we anticipate that you guys will add nearly 30,000 jobs. If you look at the open jobs currently right now, you guys have about 6,000 open jobs, but about 7,600 individuals looking for work. We'll touch on that here in a moment. The unemployment rate is 2.8%, as Helga mentioned. That new figure will come out here in a few weeks, and we'll get a look at it. But I expect that figure is very, very strong competitively. Sometimes we get in this isolated bubble of looking at Florida and our unemployment rate as a state at 2.6%. That's unsustainably low. And as we talk about what I expect over the next year, that number will rise a little bit, but that's not a panic meter. That's more of just kind of a return to sustainable long-term growth. Consumer sentiment across Florida and Volusia County is actually on the rise. So consumers are feeling strong about their ability to spend money and grow and invest in their community, which is great to see. And then housing starts. We'll talk about that here in a little more detail. But there were last month, about 653 houses sold. There are currently about 2,421 active property listings in Volusia County. So this is the metric that Helga brought up a little bit. And again, I'm going to talk about it from a state level and from a community level. but $23.7 billion in taxable income moved into Florida last year. That is number one in the nation. If you looked per hour, that is $2.7 million per hour. Where is that money coming from? New York, Illinois, New Jersey, California, Pennsylvania. In fact, if you looked at all 47 states in the nation, all 50 states in the nation, we are gaining wealth from 47 of them. We are only losing wealth, which is W-2 income wealth that we look at, to Tennessee, North Carolina, and Wyoming. And as you can see, those numbers pale in comparison to what we're gaining. If you were to break it down hourly, New York is losing about 2.2 million an hour again, while we're gaining about 2.7 million an hour. This is the figure that looks a little different from Helga's, and let me explain why. Helga showed you, which is really, really accurate, and what we actually look at on the Florida scorecard, out-of-state income migration into Volusia County. But I wanted to pull something a little interesting for you guys, so I went behind the data filter and actually dug into the raw data last week. Because Volusia County isn't just competing at a state level for money from other communities in other states. You guys are competing regionally as well. So yes, about $301 million was brought in from out-of-state income. But overall, net migration into Volusia County was $571 million last year, which ranks you about 11th or 12th in the entire state of Florida. That's really, really strong. Not super surprising. You guys are gaining the most wealth from your neighbors in Seminole and Orange. And you guys are losing a little bit of wealth to your neighbors from the north in Flagler and St. John. If you look at those out-of-state perspectives, most of that money is coming from New York. As you see, 3 of your top 5 largest gain counties, Suffolk County in New York, not Nassau County in New York, and Kings County in New York. We also saw Cook County and Fairfax as well. So across the state of Florida, we mentioned earlier open jobs versus people looking for work. We have about 409,000 open jobs. That number is increasing a little bit, but if you look at it from more of a longer term perspective over the past year, is leveling out. I would say the height of kind of the economic boom here, post-COVID recession in Florida, we saw that number creep up to about 550, 560,000 open jobs, sitting at 409,000 right now. 284,000 unemployed individuals. That doesn't necessarily represent everybody that doesn't have a job. It represents those that are actually counted in the labor market and actively looking for work. What's interesting to track there as you look at unemployed individuals is for a long time, we were talking about the quit rate in Florida, the people that were leaving the job market. And I think there was this thought during COVID that we had people retiring or students delaying their entry into the workforce or people saying they were going to kind of take a sabbatical. One, the quit rate and the labor force participation rate in Florida has decreased pretty consistently since the recession in 2006 through 2008. So that's not new in Florida. But what we are seeing that's new is the return to work rate. People that are coming back into the labor market is starting to take an uptick here in our state. So I would expect you'll actually see that unemployment rate number increase here in the coming months and throughout this year. But it won't just be because people are losing their job. It'll actually be because people are actively returning to the job market. If you look at some of our competitor states, Georgia, Texas, and New York, we are stronger in this respect than every other state. It also leads to some talent gaps. Here, specifically in Volusia County, I can see that, let me see if I can X. There's not an X out button. Anyway, it's about 133 individuals that are looking for work for every 100 open jobs. Again, that's not a reason to necessarily hit the panic meter. As I saw one of the slides earlier, is like 30 minutes from everywhere here. Volusia County is obviously very well geographically located. You have hubs in Orlando. You have hubs to the south. You have opportunities along the coastline. Volusia County is not a bed community by any means. But what I will tell you is that not all 760 or 7,685 individuals looking for work within this community are going to be getting work within this community. It doesn't mean that they're going to leave and move somewhere else. It just means that they may work in a different county. Top open jobs, unsurprisingly, the number one is registered nurse. It's also been the number one open job in all of Florida every single month for like the past decade. We need about 20,000 nurses right now across the state of Florida, 410 of them here in Volusia County. And they get an average wage of about $65,000 a year. So we know it's a very strong job. As you can see, some of the other top open jobs are in retail sales and retail management. Those are two very different things. and then customer service representatives. Also want to talk a little bit about the housing market. The housing market is a very interesting one here in the state of Florida. And it's inflated, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's inflated compared to other states. We were the #1 state in terms of the increase to purchase and the increased cost of rent over the past year. And as we see economic growth change across the country this year, you will see other states seem to be growing stronger because of that inflation specifically related to buying homes. We'll touch a little bit more specifically about what that looks like here in this community on the next slide. But all that's to say is the housing market is starting to cool a little bit, but only in terms of the sales. So yes, sales is up this past month, but as you can see overall, it has gone down pretty significantly since the peak right after the start of COVID, and housing starts is up again this month, but down a little bit overall. This is a good thing because hopefully it'll deflate the price. Hasn't yet though. Median housing prices, and this is the median, not the average, around the state of Florida are $464,950. Yeah. How about you? I can't afford a $500,000 home. And this is part of the conversation that we're starting to look at a state level. This conversation around affordable housing. Because I think very traditionally that definition has always been, how do you get the home for maybe the single parent that's working multiple jobs that maybe has a government subsidy? Those are absolutely an important population that we need to focus on. But we're talking about workforce housing. We're talking about 2 teachers making a combined income of $90,000 going, I don't think I can afford to invest in a home. Or God forbid, have I found a home that I can invest in, but I don't have access to the transportation I need to get to where I'm going? Or another scary piece, I found the home, I got approved, I put in my offer, and I put it in at full asking price, but only to be scooped because right now 30% of homes are all cash purchases in the state of Florida. And again, that number's decreasing a little bit. At the peak of the economic growth here, we saw that number was closer to 40%, but it's still a challenge. Here in Volusia County, we see it's just under $400,000 at $388,000 for the median list price, and average rent is nearly $1,500. Again, I do suspect there will be some reprieve coming. Your vacancy rate is at its highest point in the past 7 years in terms of rental property. It's still pretty low at 6.7%, but that's a good thing. We're seeing that there's more opportunity in the market, whether there's more starts, whether there's more builds, whether it's individuals moving from rent to ownership. There's more property out there, which should help not necessarily deflate the price, but at least level it off. On top of that, we were talking about property value, and it's true. Right now, Volusia County's property value is at an all-time high. If you took all the property within Volusia, it's worth $84 billion. That figure is interesting. What's more interesting is that it grew nearly 25% last year. Again, I don't suspect 25% year-over-year growth. If you find somebody who can give you a return of 25% a year, give them everything you have, but then watch out because it's probably Bernie made. So don't do that too quickly. A couple things I want to touch at from a state level. Again, we expect strong growth this year, but more of a leveling out. What you saw in 2021 and 2022 was Florida capturing an opportunity, but now it's about creating that opportunity as long-term sustainable growth. So we expect about 250,000 new jobs to be added to our state. We put out a prediction of 350,000 new residents. If you asked me, quartered me in a hallway, I would bet the over on that number. I think we'll probably add more than 350,000, but that's the number we're going with right now. And again, that's strong growth. Unemployment rate will rise in Florida. That is a return to mean that's going to happen. But we expect that it'll be stronger than the state of, or than the nation as a whole. Is the U.S. currently sitting at about 3.6% unemployment rate. We actually expect over this year that the U.S. will rise up, maybe a little bit over 4%. Here in Florida, we expect that number to be about 3.5%. Again, I don't need to read everything on this slide to you guys. We talked about it a little bit, but strong GDP growth this year. I don't necessarily think we are headed towards a traditional recession, at least not necessarily in the state of Florida. Real GDP growth did grow again this past quarter with the data that just came out. we'll see a little bit of maybe leveling off. So we might not get the greatest gains month over month or year over year or quarter over quarter, but we do expect GDP to grow here in 2023. And then inflation. It is starting to settle as the Federal Reserve continues to raise the Fed funds rates, which for everybody, the Fed fund rate, if you don't know, is just the rate that banks lend money to one another. So it allows them to either lend out money to companies or individuals at a cheaper or more expensive cost. With the raise of Fed fund rates, inflation should continue to slow down a little bit. Doesn't mean that we're going to get back to, inflation rates that hardly existed prior to the pandemic or in the midst of the pandemic, but we won't be sitting here, I think, at 7 and 8% year over year inflation rate. In Volusia County specifically, I expect that your personal income growth will grow a little bit, but it'll actually be more of a product of increased wages, not a ton of increased employment over this year. So 4.2 to 4.7%, that's a little lower than, double-digit figures we've seen in the past. I think, again, that's solid, that's strong. It's as we return to mean, it's not losing any progress that you've gained. Employment will grow a little bit, about a half to a single percentage point. Unemployment rate is going to rise a little bit. That 2.8%, as I mentioned earlier, is an unsustainable figure. Economists typically look at anywhere from 4 to 5% as natural unemployment. So I expect that you guys will probably end this year anywhere from 3.3 to 3.8%. Your fastest growing industries, we talked about one of them already, education, so that's health and human services. That does take into account those nurses, and financial activities. As we look at the rate of money that is moving into Volusia County, which, by the way, I think that figure will increase. I think more and more taxable dollars will move into your community from other areas in other states. But as that demand comes in, so will the demand for financial services. But I do think you will see a little bit of a cooling off in the area of leisure and hospitality and business services. Again, those aren't necessarily bad things. I think that's more of a product of really, really strong growth in years past and just kind of a leveling out here as we move forward. So I wanted to, again, these are just a few of our community development partners. Duke Energy is on this list as well, but always giving a shout out to those businesses that do support the work that we are able to do from a data and analysis side. So appreciate those community development partners. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Florida Chamber of Commerce always has such great information. Okay, that ends our program for today. I want to thank all of the panelists and thank you for bringing all of us so much great information on what's happening in the county. And I do want to apologize, Phyllis Butland, Vice Mayor, City of DeBary. You weren't on my city list, so wanted to make sure I covered that. Real quick before we end, I do want to just invite you all. We have our Valor Awards, the 5th annual Valor Awards coming up. We have so many great people here. I'd love to invite you all to register for that event and help support our first responders. That's it. Grab yourself some cheesecake and scones. Thanks and have a nice day.